Good morning, cousins. Welcome to this morning's live divination ceremony. I'm Ocean. I'll be your host today. And yeah, I'm an Unbound Witch from Bright and Dark Resource Center, where we are coming together in community of neurodivergent black sheep cycle breaking witches to become ungovernable and change the world as we know it. Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Letting the birds out. I love that. What a great way to start the day. So we've been on this sort of journey this weekend together of we've been talking about our relationship with our routine and how it can support our creativity. And that's felt very highlighted for me too. Let's see. At the Resource Center, we are getting ready for shadow study, which will be tonight at, I believe this one is at 4 p.m. Pacific. Let me make sure so I don't tell you the wrong thing. Yeah, it's at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. And Tuesday, we have our SAS Twilight Edition. This is one of our most popular meetings for a reason. And we moved SAS to an evening, one of the SASs to an evening, to accommodate more of our UK and Southern Hemisphere witches, because the time zones it's really hard to get us all in one place as an international community, right? So we made this SAS Tuesday Twilight Edition to make that more accessible. SAS is so great. If you haven't interacted with our community before, SAS is a free meeting that we do twice a month on the first Sunday and the third Tuesday. Yeah, the third Tuesday, which is, it's hard to remember, but we also have them in our events in the app. If you want to go check out our community app at community.brightanddark.org, there you can RSVP to the events, and it makes them more accessible to neurodivergent minds, because it'll remind you, hey, this isn't 24 hours. Hey, this isn't an hour. Hey, this isn't 15 minutes. Hey, this isn't 5 minutes. And you can choose your level of notifications if you don't want to get bombarded by all of those. But if you need the bombardment for your ADHD brain, because like I do, then the app is where you want to be. SAS is really great too, because SAS stands for Spirituality and Support Symposium. And the idea is that we come together as a community to have conversations that we've all been dying to have about witchcraft, about the supernatural, about spirits, about we get into aliens, we get into fae, we get into dragons, we get into all the things. We don't get into personal shadow work, but we do take a look at collective shadows. We tend to step with our shadow work foot first here at the Resource Center, so it's always bound to come up in whatever we do, right? You've almost journaled one full notebook? Wow. Yay. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. That's a really good feeling. The first time I finished a notebook, I was like, did I really just finish a notebook? Because I used to be too scared to finish a notebook. I would leave like a few blank pages and be like, maybe I'll use these. But once I started journaling with the bright and dark, and now I have journals all over the place. I have one here, I have one there, I have one out there, and they all have their different purposes too. We actually did a series for a while that was like Witchcraft 101 that was explaining like different journals that you can keep as a witch. So I actually really want to bring that series back. And I know that Sarsaparilla is interested in that too. So we've been in talks about what that might look like. Because we just adore talking about witchcraft. Yeah, the ADHD urge to start something, but consistency. Right, consistency can be neurodivergent friendly. Just because you can't be constant doesn't mean you can't be consistent, right? Found more wax on my laptop. That's great. For those who don't know, I spilled candle wax on my laptop because that's what being a witch is, apparently. Okay. I think everyone's here now. And I think we can go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and call in the elements together. And then we will call in support. And then we're going to set our intention for this live divination ceremony. So, get comfortable where you're sitting. If you need to stim or stretch, go ahead and take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. I humbly invite all that is fire within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this love. I humbly invite all that is air within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. And I humbly invite all that is earth within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. And I humbly invite all that is water within this system to witness this working. And if alignment is found, may you choose to bless this flow. I beckon to this system. May we now align as one, for our cousins are the elements, and both the moon and sun. I call to those who love me. You are welcome in this space, for our nature is united, sharing magic, life, and grace. Now we set our intention for the day. Why did we call everyone here to this space? We do this as a call and repeat. If you'd like to, you can repeat after me. I'll give space for it, but you don't have to. If you choose to, pay attention to how the words feel in your body. I choose now, in this moment, to align with my whole self, to pull the book that tells my story from its place upon the shelf. I enter now this circle made of trust and hope and power. And I show up for my practice in this place and at this hour. Because I am home. All right, witches. If you have a tarot deck, if you have an oracle deck, or a book nearby, let's grab them and do some divination. I'm using the mini territorial deck. Today. So we're mostly going off vibes because these don't have the full interpretation with them. I got the iridescent one because rainbows. I have not giggled as much as I have since I started doing magic. Hubby said I was giggling with joy when I said those words. I love that so much. And that, like, there is something so wonderful about the feeling of a giggle. Even the word giggle is just like, it just gives you that feeling, you know? So, with that in mind, love that for us. We're going to go ahead and get started. Where does our community's attention need to be in order to bring the most expansion to our relationship with our life and our practices? Where does our attention need to be today in order to bring the most expansion to our relationship with our life and our practice? I want to know how to pronounce that so much, Helvy. I'm going to have to look that up after the live. That's adorable. I want to try pronouncing it, but I'm going to make a fool of myself. Where does my attention need to be today in order to bring the most expansion to my relationship with my life and my practice? We got the sun reversed. Of course, it'd be helpful if I showed it to you upright. Is it backwards? I don't know if I can mirror the screen or not. Anyway, we got the sun. So we drew it in reverse, so I'm going to read that one first. Trying to produce at the same time as host. It's super duper fun. So the sun reversed. Lack of clarity, sadness, depression, and negativity. Lack of clarity, sadness, depression, and negativity. And upright, the sun is joy, success, enlightenment, marriage, vitality. Just feeling into the card. Of course, it's represented by the sun because it is the sun. In numerology, it's 1 and 10. Of course, it's a fire card. Joy, success, enlightenment, marriage, and vitality. Lack of clarity, sadness, depression, and negativity. What are you guys getting from that? Let me let you brew on it for a moment. The brew timer doesn't work very well when half my screen's black. You can kind of see it. I think the question I would ask you when you feel into that reversed, like the lack of clarity, the sadness, the depression, the negativity, how forefront does that feel in your experience right now? Does that feel like that kind of energy, like those sort of things are at the forefront? Does it feel like, does it almost feel like, how do I put this? You say you feel more upright, Sun, today. You know, it's funny because like when I pulled it, it really felt like the upright was more highlighted. But here's why I think that is, because this is a public live divination ceremony. So pulling it in reversed is going to very much highlight the shadow work people have around reversed tarot cards. Because I don't know about you, but when I very first started pulling cards and I would pull the reversed of anything, there would be this kind of feeling in my gut of like, oh no, it's reversed. It's bad. Oh no. You know, it would be like, oh no. And but when you're a witch born of shadow, when you're practicing on the path of a witch born of shadow, lack of clarity, depression, they don't feel like sadness and negativity. They do feel like success. They do feel like enlightenment, because when you embrace this confusion as for you, it opens up possibilities you couldn't imagine. When you embrace what we label as depression, you find sometimes grief, sometimes rest, sometimes both. I'm personally, I usually experience those in combination. There's, you know, whereas like depression feels like it's happening for no reason. There's not no reason, but depression kind of ends up being that catch-all, that like end all. And we don't always dig deeper into it because we're like, of course I'm depressed. The world is on fire. But if you zoom in, because a lot of us are prone to zooming out, that's kind of what the I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat for a second. Just I have this little tiny. I need to really make it, because I always say this. I say I'm gonna put on my tiny tinfoil hat for a second. In that there's genuinely social engineering going on through the media that you're consuming that forces perspective the same way art does, right? Art can force a perspective. That's you know, media in the same way, you know, these short form videos and stuff, and the way the algorithm is curated to give you something cute and fluffy and then something horrifying and violent, and you know, the way that it works. And right, zooming in is hard because it feels selfish, it feels negative, but and also there is a lack of clarity that comes from stepping outside of the zeitgeist. You feel detached. Well, I took a social media break recently, and when I stepped out of it, first of all, it has been like 3 days since I started that, and still I'm getting TikTok sounds stuck in my head, even though I haven't been on TikTok in 3 days. So I feel like I got a little bit on a side quest here, but it all feels sort of relevant. Right. I was saying that the lack of clarity that comes from sitting with yourself, because things feel a lot more certain when you're basing it on what other people are doing because it's something you're observing, or when you're basing it on somebody else's advice because they feel certain about what's right for them. Nobody can know what's best for you except for you. You can absolutely get different perspectives, and you try them on like thrift store coats. But then always remember that you get to decide what fits you. You get to decide what textures are your no's, what textures are your yeses. It's not based on anybody else's perception, right? Yeah. No, Helvy, that's the one. Don't do it. That is, I've literally just been randomly singing that all over the house. The "You Never Take Me to Bangladesh." Oh my gosh. I'll just sing that to my dog sometimes, especially if she's like growling at me and she's annoyed. I just start singing that to her because I feel like that's like her vibe. She's like, it's like you don't care because you're not getting up right now to do everything I think you should in this moment. it's, it's the same amount of ridiculousness. It's, yeah. Oh my gosh. It's one of those sound worms that you just can't get out from your head. It just like, yeah, it's so random too. Revved instead of reversed is really great, Lady Dynamite, because it feels like a launching, right? Like it's a catalyst instead of something that's holding you back. It's an opportunity for expansion. I like that. All right. I feel like we've kind of honed in on the sun. So now we're going to look at what's in reverse. Yeah, I don't know much about music theory, but I'm really interested in that. But I definitely think it has to do with how the rhythm is. Okay, feeling into the shadow card. Excuse me. We got Judgment in reverse. I totally left the brew timer on. Judgment. So in reversed, and remember, this is in a shadow position. So this is what we're in resistance to or in denial of. So we're in resistance or denial of doubt, self-loathing, criticism, stunted growth. And the upright of Judgment, because it's about the whole card, you may also be resistant to reflection, awakening, transition, decisions, change. Yes, I can read it again. So, the reversed of Judgment is doubt, self-loathing, criticism, stunted growth. Seems like a time for a pause and reflect, eh? Yeah, absolutely, Heather. That's what I was thinking too. The upright is reflection, awakening, transition, decisions, change. So this is what we're in resistance to or in denial of. That might be blocking. It might be blocking. Oh, that's, yeah. If things aren't working, do you blame yourself? If things aren't going the way that you think that they should, do you blame yourself? Do you tend to put that burden on your shoulders and say, if I had just done something differently, things would have worked out better. Things would have been saved, things would have been fixed, things could have been amazing. We could have been better off if I had just been in charge, or if I had stepped up and spoken up for myself, or if I had even if things were in your control, it's like if I had done something differently. So what if nothing could have changed the outcome? Like, consider that for a moment. What if absolutely nothing could have been different no matter what you did, no matter how perfect you were, no matter how perfect other people were? Nothing could have ever been differently just for a second. You don't have to keep that mindset if that's not something you want. But just try it on. Remember the coats? Try it on real quick. I've wasted a lot of time being worried. Crystal! Crystal! Oh my goodness, Witch, you're so psychic. Exactly, right? A lot of time. Yeah, I used to have a boss and was like kind of one of my first spiritual mentors, actually, if I'm thinking of it, at a horse rescue that I worked at. And yeah, she would say something along those same lines, that like worrying, if you're going to do something, then do something. If you're not, then why worry about it? It's just a waste of energy that you could be putting into something you actually want to be doing. She's very straightforward. She was also a Gemini, so they're absolutely truth tellers. I'm feeling into the story of this weekend too, right? Things aren't working out the way that you think that they should. So now you think that you don't know things, and you're probably depressed because it might even seem like things are going the opposite of how you think they should. But criticizing, how how does it benefit you to criticize yourself, to doubt your intuition? They said both cards reversed, and both their cards reversed. And the message kind of hits better when not reversed. Kind of makes me feel like flipping the tables on these things to end the cycle. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Kind of feels like making, it kind of feels, it kind of makes me feel like flipping tables too, is what I'm trying to say with my words. Um, Yeah, who else gets stuck in a cycle of rumination whenever things are not going to plan? Because that self-loathing and self-criticism can keep me stunted. It literally says stunted growth, right? Stunted for days. For days, I will literally be like, I must figure this out in my head. And yeah, how often do you actually figure it out before you're actually there experiencing it? Because yes, you may feel more prepared when you try to work out all the scenarios. Your judgment wants to keep you safe. Your judgment is not trying to harm you. Your judgment wants to keep you safe by coming up with all these scenarios of how things might go. But that's not their job. Their job is to um, Actually, I feel like you need to. Yeah, I also feel personally attacked, Crystal. It's just, you're not alone. uh, their their job is not to predict what is going to happen. That's your intuition. That's not your brain's job. That's your intuition's job. I feel like I want to let you say what your brain's job is, but because you get to decide that. But the reason that I say that it's not your brain's job to predict things is because it has a limited amount of information. That's why you hear me talking all the time about all the possibilities I cannot imagine. Because when you go through periods of uncertainty, when things don't go to plan, when Neptune like throws it all to hell, or Pluto in this case, because this is also a Pluto card, Judgment. When everything seems to be out of control, can you see the gift in that? Are you able to see the gift in the death, transformation, and rebirth of you, of your life, of a way of being, of a way of thinking, of a relationship, of a career? Just say F it. I need to learn how to let things be. I need to learn how to let me be. I need to learn how to let myself be. And it's so funny. If you've interacted with me in the community at all, you know that one of my major synchronicities that I'm always all up in the app with is a bee. It's a little bee emoji. Right. Yeah. Towers don't scare you anymore when you do this work. It's very powerful work. And again, it will change your life. So if you're feeling that lack of clarity, if you're feeling depressed, consider what in your life is either ready to change or is already changing. In fact, most of the time when you look around you, especially as witches, you know what's happening innately. Because we'll all say it, oh, I knew this was going to happen. Oh, I so had a feeling about this going to happen. How often do you listen to yourself? How often do you second guess yourself? And then you're surprised later when you're right. And how much fun is that? Are you having a good time? um I would also again lean into the judgment is trying to help you. When you listen to the criticism, can you hear the way that your mind is trying to love you in a way that's familiar, but maybe you're recognizing isn't safe anymore, isn't comfortable, isn't how you experience love anymore? Your judgment, your criticism, that voice of rumination, is it actually your voice when you're thinking those thoughts? Yeah, we all have access to the same information. Yes, Jen Marie does say that, and it's very true. We all have access to the same information. We just interpret it through our own lenses. Yeah. I love that for you, Helvi. That is a huge step in reclaiming your authority as like your own inner authority. It's really awesome. I love those moments so much. Thank you for sharing that with me. Yeah. So, what are we going to go out and do today? What are we going to go out and do today with these cards? I think today is a journaling day for me. I think today is going to be a really great day for me to curl up with my journal and get some of my thoughts straight. Yeah, observation. Today's a really good day for reflection, for observing how you're responding to your experience. Absolutely. And I'm feeling it too. I went through a whole cleaning frenzy this like weekend, and I'm feeling so much more comfortable in my space now that it's organized in a way that supports me. Yeah, no sudden moves. In the nicest, friendliest way possible, right? But think about the part of you that needs that energy. Yeah, make art. Make art with the part of you that needs that energy, because the part of you that needs you to slow down and to include them in the process. That's that's where the gold is, I guess, is the best way I can put that. That Yeah, that's where the gold is. I'm gonna go with that. All right. Yeah, go make some art. Go take care. Have a slow meal. Have a sit with a drink of water, a glass of water, and meditate with it. Do something so painstakingly slow that it gives space to connect with that judgmental part. Because for me, at least, I noticed that uh, urgency is a telltale sign that my judgment is driving or is attempting to drive. So I think that's it. I think that is our reading for today. Oh, you're making chocolate chip cookies with your kiddo today? I love that. How that is so wholesome. Maybe you could bring some to shadow study later. No, just kidding. All right. Well, I could sit and talk to you guys forever. I'm so looking forward to the conversation at shadow study tonight. And that will again be at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. I think that's it for me today, guys. It was so good chatting with you. Thank you for allowing me to hold this space this weekend. Thank you for showing up and supporting me this weekend. This has been really awesome getting to hang out with you guys in this way, and getting to read for the collective has been a true honor. I appreciate you all so very much. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Stay hydrated.